Hey guys, you're watching English with Chris Americos, and today's video is called How Many Words Should You Learn Each Day? And this is probably a question that you've asked yourself before. And I'm going to tell you today that there is no magic number. All right? It's different for each person. And let's look at some of the reasons why that's true. And anyways, let's try to find an answer to this question that's going to help us get a result, right? Because why are we asking ourselves this question? We're asking ourselves this question because we want to become fluent and we want to know how much work each day we need to do. And we are thinking that if we learn words, we're going to become fluent in the language. And that's our first mistake, is that learning words does not make you fluent. You have to actually know how to use those words. So just knowing that this word translates to this word in your language, it doesn't really help you speak the language or use the language very much. Sure, maybe you have a general idea of what a word means most of the times, but what about other situations where this word takes on a different meaning? Then we might be completely confused. So first of all, before I continue this video, you should go ahead and write down either on a piece of paper or send a comment and tell me how many words you think you should learn each day to become fluent, and also write how many words you learn each day right now. In my experience, most people don't learn a specific amount of words each day. One day they don't learn any new words, and another day they learn a lot of new words. So it's a difficult question to answer. My name's Chris Huntley, and a lot of people call me Chris Americos, and I'm here because I love to teach English. And you see some web addresses on your screen right now. You can go to those places and find more resources that I provide. That's all free content, so feel free to go there. It doesn't cost you anything, and take advantage of those free resources. And my experience teaching thousands of students has given me the information that I need to answer this question for you. So really, here's one of the big concepts today that we want to remember. It's the number of new words you learn each day is not important at all. Okay, so that number means nothing. If that number is 1 or if that number is 100, it makes no difference. Well, it does make a big difference because the person who's trying to learn 100 words every day, he's probably not going to learn very much. And the person who's learning one word every day definitely will get results. So let's take a look at why that is so. First, we have new words and old words. You already have some old words. If you're listening to me speak in English on this video, then you already have some old words. And when we introduce our new words, the thing that we're talking about today, I would say that a realistic goal is to learn between 5 and 15 new words per day. If you try to learn more than this every day, like in our example where someone was trying to learn 100 words per day, it'll only make things more difficult for you. Because, and here's where the old words are important, because you need to review your old words. So you should review at least 50 words per day if you're learning between 5 and 15 new words per day. So you need to continue to look at the words that give you problems and you have trouble remembering. You need to continue to look at them every day. So you're spending more time each day reviewing old words than learning new words. This is the right approach to learning new words. Think about this. In order for a person to learn new words, he needs to already be in a context where he understands 80 to 90%. And 80%, that's for some people who are like geniuses with languages. They can just learn new words very quickly. But for most people, this number should be between 90 and 95%. Because if we spend 100% of our time learning new words, then we're never going to have time to review the words that we've already learned, and we're just going to forget everything. So if you try to learn too many new words, you won't have enough time to review them properly. And guys, think about this. If you try to learn 100 words per day, then after 30 days, you will have learned 3,000 new words. But can you really remember 3,000 new words in 30 days? No, it's not realistic. And on top of that, most native speakers of most languages don't use 3,000 words in their daily vocabulary. That means in their active speech, in their usual life. They use less than 3,000 words. So why do you need to learn 3,000 words in 30 days? You don't. Take your time and remember to review. Another important thing that we need to remember is that new words need to be used. And this is where we see that the learning process really happens when we're reviewing, not when we are memorizing new words. Because we can only memorize a new word once. After that, it's not new anymore. Unless we forget it. Then we can try to memorize it again, right? But if we want to remember it, we need to review it. And there's no limit to how many times we can review it. We can review it 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 times. And we want to review them in different ways. We don't just want to look at this word written on a piece of paper or type it on a computer. We want to find opportunities to use these words in speech and in writing. So we need to create this in the right context, at the right time. And one of the problems that people create for themselves when they're learning new words is that they learn one meaning of a word and then always think about that word connected to that meaning. And in reality, many words have many meanings. And on top of that, words take on different meanings when they're used in sentences and phrases. So when we just see a word alone, sure, it has one meaning, or it has one idea that comes to mind first. It may also have another meaning if we're in a different situation. But then when we combine this word with other words and sentences and phrases, it can take on a completely different meaning. So don't attach meanings to words that you can't change. You might understand a word in one way now, but later on understand that word differently. And you might be saying to yourself, well, okay, Chris, you're saying I need to review more than I need to memorize, but how am I going to keep track of all of these words? How am I going to organize them? And how am I going to count them, right? Well, to do that, there are a lot of online tools. 3 of them come to mind. One is Anki, another is LingQ, and Duolingo. Resources like these help you organize your study sessions when you build vocabulary. Don't think that using one of them will solve all of your problems though, okay? You need to do a combination of things. These programs are great because they make learning fun, and it's more interactive than just reading a book. You have a program that tells you if you're right or wrong. You get feedback, and that's important. But just using one of these programs is not going to make you fluent in a language. This is just going to give you some kinds of basic knowledge or basic groups of vocabulary. And remember, guys, when we're talking about learning new words, we're talking about vocabulary. And that's it. We're not talking about a language, we're just talking about language vocabulary. So even if you learn 3,000 words in 30 days, there's no way that you'll be able to use them correctly, or at least be able to use them on the level of other people who know 3,000 words also. Because they actually know those words, and you just tried to memorize them. And when I say they know those words, it means they know the meanings, they know how to use them, they know what contexts they're appropriate for. All you know is the word and its translation. So, do you really know these words? But don't get me wrong, memorization is important. And that's why I want to talk about memory a little bit. We have our active memory, which is full of words and phrases that you can recall at practically any time. So if you need to say it right now, you can say it. Maybe if you look at an object, you automatically know this word in the language that you're studying because it's in your active memory. You don't need to think for a second and find the right word somewhere in your mind. And as you see on the picture of the iceberg on the screen, just a small part of our vocabulary is in our active memory usually. Most of it is in our passive memory, And that's full of words and phrases that require some effort to recall. And one of the coolest things that we can do is we can go to the country where that language is spoken, and a lot more information will enter our active memory and stay there. Because we are going to be using different skills and changing how we think when we interact with these people from this country. And when we speak with native speakers, we might find that a lot of words and phrases from our passive memory are activated because we don't usually say or hear them in other situations. So when you learn a language at school or on your own, you learn a lot of different words, and you can't really put them all into use. So hearing other people use them helps us activate our understanding and knowledge of those words and activate our active memory. And going back to what I said before, guys, each word has different meanings, and in different contexts, it might mean something different too. So we can't attach one permanent meaning to one word. Every meaning has a context. So let's imagine we write a word. We can see it with our eyes, we can hear what it sounds like if we pronounce it, but really the word itself has no meaning. So think of a word as a concept, and we've attached a sound and a visualization, a spelling, how we write this word, to this concept. And then we start to attach meanings to it also. And just like people in different places might pronounce a word differently, a word might also have a different meaning for them. Now, let's imagine that you have a cold, that you're not feeling very well. You might pronounce a word differently than you usually would. This is called context. It doesn't mean that you said a different word. You said it differently because of the situation, because of the conditions. Meaning is exactly the same. And one of the best examples of this is that the word set has 464 definitions in the Oxford English Dictionary. So that really goes to show that one word can have a lot of different meanings. And that's why if you memorize one meaning only per word, you will get confused the next time that you see the same word somewhere with a different meaning. And my example here, if you can see the picture, is a set of teeth. That's right, a set of teeth. We can use the word set about this thing that you see in front of you. Or we could call them dentures. And sure, the word set usually means a collection of things, or several different things grouped together in one package or one container. So it makes sense that this is a set of teeth. But when you first look at this, you probably wouldn't think that it's called a set of teeth, because probably you associate the word set with something different. So here's another big concept. The most important thing when memorizing new vocabulary is repeated, meaningful exposures leading to language activation. Now, what are repeated, meaningful exposures? An exposure is each time you see a word. Each time you see it, you become more familiar with it. You know it a little bit more. Even if you didn't add any new meaning or add any new information associated with this word, you saw it again and you checked your understanding of it. Because whether you realized it or not, when you looked at this word, you thought for a second to yourself, what does that word mean? And then you answered that question to yourself, and you reassured yourself. You gave yourself confidence that you know this word. And that is a repeated exposure. Now, is that kind of exposure meaningful? If we just see a word on a screen or on a piece of paper and we check our understanding, just look at it, say, yep, that's what it means, and we move forward. Well, it's not very meaningful, right? Because it doesn't add anything to our understanding of this word. So just repeated exposures will not necessarily help us become more fluent. We need meaningful exposures. And again, meaningful exposures will not help us become fluent alone. We need both repeated and meaningful exposures. So that means we need to put ourselves in different situations to be able to experience words having meanings in different contexts. And when we continue to hear the same words and to see the same ideas in different contexts, then we will have a really deep understanding of this word or this concept. So the next time somebody tells you a new word and what it means, and then 10 minutes later they ask you if you remember what this word means and you can't remember, don't get frustrated because this is completely natural. You usually need to see a word 8, 9, 10, even more times before you are going to remember it. So if your goal is to memorize a bunch of words and never use them, and that's why you're looking for the number of words that you need to learn each day, then you should turn this video off now. But if your goal is to become fluent in the language, then you need to start focusing more on reviewing old words and less on how many new words you can memorize each day. But if you absolutely need a number of how many words you should learn each day, I suggest between 5 and 15. So guys, this is our strategy for learning new words. First, we memorize, then we use, then we review. So memorize, it's just from our list of words or from our target vocabulary. Remember, I suggest here to use the top 1,000 words or 1,000 most commonly used words in English. Start from there, and then when you finish with that list, go to the top 2,000 and then the top 3,000. So you memorize those words, and then you need to think of how to use them. So each day, you need to find a way to put them into use. Now do you see why having more than 5 words is really a challenge? How are you going to use all of them? And number 3 is the most important, as I've already told you, review the old words. So if each day you memorize 5 new words, then at the end of 30 days, you have 150 words, and now you need to review all of them. So it's much easier to review 150 words and to really know what they mean in 30 days than to learn 3,000 words in 30 days. All right? It's completely unrealistic to learn 100 words per day. And that's why I need to tell you that really it's different for everyone. Each person learns in a different way, so some people can learn more each day than other people. And this is not only about people, but it's also about motivation now. If you have an important event coming up and you need to speak English there, then you have a lot more motivation right now, and you will probably be able to learn more words right now. But if you really don't have any special reason to use these words and to learn these words right now, if you don't have a use for them right now, then you're probably not going to learn as many words and you're not going to learn them as well. So I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment, send an email, or follow me on one of my social media pages. And if you decide after watching this video that you are going to learn 5 new words every day, and that you're going to review 50 old words every day, contact me and let me know because I'd really like to see your results. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.